My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Best Quality Vacuum, the best damn vacuum repair shop in Albuquerque.
Welcome to our My Shout page.
Yep. Welcome to the street team, Dustbusters. Scoot along the room, my little Roombas.
Fly.
Yeah, just going up to the Galbraith and showing him a Roomba and just absolutely blowing his mind.
Oh no.
And it's going to take weeks to find a home for this. I'll pull some strings.
Just picturing all the Roombas in little cages like it's a shelter.
Like he's got to go rehome them all. That's mostly what he does, is he rehomes criminal Roombas.
Yeah.
They go and vacuum up a bunch of drug money, and then they pay him. They cough $40,000 in cash onto his desk. Yeah.
Oh my God. This week we're talking about the episode The Cat's in the Bag. Written by Vince Gilligan and directed by Adam Bernstein. Originally aired on January the 27th of 2008. Adam Bernstein directed tons of episodes of both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but prior to this directed a bunch of 30 Rock.
Interesting.
That kind of comes through in some of the comedy here. The beats in this. This is a funny episode.
Yeah, there are comedy beats about this, even though it's like the bleakest possible subject matter. They're bungling. This is their dynamic, but the funny part of this is they're trying to, we killed some people. Now what? But it was also, I don't know if this is true, strictly true, but depending on which day you ask me, this is the episode that made me fall in love with the show.
It's the transition from this over to episode 3. Specifically, yes. The viscera falling through the ceiling and then cleaning up with it. That was when I would talk to people. Okay, at least get to that point, and then you'll know if you're in or not.
Yeah, because we talked about this. The idea of crime is not going to be fun; it's going to be hard and suck. Being part of the philosophy that they had for the show. I'd never seen a TV show that dealt with this kind of stuff. I'd seen police procedurals,
yes,
at this point, and I'd seen The Wire, and The Wire would have a line or something about getting rid of bodies or whatever. But a criminal procedural is really interesting. And in movies and stuff all the time, just whack them. What do we do? What do you do after that? It's what makes Goodfellas so good. It opens with the very unpleasant, burying a guy who's not quite dead. Killing him. What do you do? Everything that happens to Walt and Jesse from here on in are things that would make me move town, leave town. If that bathtub thing happened, you'd be I can't live here now.
Jesse even says that he feels fucking haunted by that guy that they turned into raspberry jelly.
It's just he's oh, how about make your house so you never want to think about it anymore? Just all these things. What do you do? You're done. Shit, man. It's really revealing. It's bungling, but it's really revealing for character as well. A great episode. And like I said, depending on when you ask me, the episode that made the show click for me perfectly.
Oh yeah. No. The fact that it just kind of continues is spiraling these consequences out, and every episode is dealing with a mess that was made in the episode prior, and it is cumulative. That sense of spiral and just not being in control is a really big part of what makes this series incredibly compulsive to watch.
It feels like something I noticed while watching this episode is that Breaking Bad, two things. One point that's lesser, and then one point that I think is better. The lesser point is I'm always interested in consequence. This is just the easiest comparison that pops in my head, but it's not the best one. And they are not equal works in terms of quality. But one of the reasons why I really enjoyed the MCU film Iron Man 3 was that it was about Tony Stark went to a wormhole, in Avengers, and it fucking sucked. And he doesn't want to do this anymore. And he's shaky and can't do shit.
Yeah.
It's all about consequence, and I think that fiction without consequence is something that I'm not interested in it really.
Yeah.
If nothing happens, what's the point? The other thing though, that I noticed is that Breaking Bad, I never put this connection together, feels like a campaign being run by a perfect DM.
Okay.
And the reason why is because an interesting bad thing happens constantly. Like bad things just happen to people we care about, but they're really interesting bad things. And it happens at a pace that is rare.
Yeah.
Like I would love like to play a game of D&D with Vince Gilligan. Like,
yeah,
I think that would be really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and like choices are honored, but in the very value neutral kind of version of that. None of these people are being railroaded. It's just like, all right, well, you chose to ignore the advice of your science teacher, and
You're on
you
bad choice road.
Yeah, you made a you made a roll on whether or not you should put them in the bathtub. Well, okay, here we go. We're gonna have to figure out how this spirals because you failed your chemistry check there, but.
Yep. Here's what happens, and you're getting no special treatment for being a protagonist.
Yes.
Like there's a sadism element that you could argue to it, where it's like you're just watching, your protagonist be tortured, and like you do just like this is a show. When I first watched it, the joke I made was like it's a show about watching bad things happen to people. Like if you get a thrill out of the worst possible thing happening.
Yeah.
But I realized like in the years since I was thinking about that, I'm like I do get a thrill of that. That's the essence of drama. That is why this is so compelling, is because interesting situations that are horrible to get out of are constantly happening.
Yeah.
What is the worst thing that could happen here?
Yeah. And also like character is either changed or revealed by consequences that extreme and by those terrible things happening. And effectively it is basically the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's not tons of commentary or trivia with this episode. This does not have it doesn't have a commentary. It's before the podcast started.
Yes.
So we don't get a lot of information on its production or anything. We're going to be able to bring a lot more of that kind of stuff to the table, starting with season 2.
Yes. Yeah. As far as trivia goes, this is the episode where Walt and Jesse develop their signature move of dissolving bodies in acid.
Everyone's signature move. Like Fring does it and everything too. It's just kind of it's a verb in this town.
Yep. Like, oh boy, he got barreled. Yeah.
It's like when everybody got into pool in River City.
The show Mythbusters did a bunch of Breaking Bad specials, but one of them that actually guest starred, they had Vince Gilligan and Aaron Paul come on. They ran the test with hydrofluoric acid, which is nasty stuff. But not nasty enough to actually dissolve a body entirely, and also wouldn't chew through metal or ceramic, which, cool. I still like, I don't care if it's accurate or not. Yeah.
No. And I think that they don't care either.
Yeah.
I was wondering whether this would work when I was watching it.
Right. Well, that's one of the things I love about Mythbusters' approach is like, okay, we determined, no, it wouldn't work as depicted, but what can we do to actually make this result happen? So I believe what they did in the episode is they used sulfuric acid at a really high concentration.
They use an accelerator with it.
Yeah,
like sulfuric acid with an agitator. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can dissolve. You too can dissolve through your bathtub.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff that that kind of is like myth or stuff you have to remember. But hydrofluoric acid, I remember being told this very specifically in high school. No idea if it's true, but they say don't mess around with that stuff because if any of it gets on your skin, it won't burn the skin, but it will dissolve your bone beneath it.
Oh,
yeah.
That can't be true.
It really can't. But it fucked me up for a couple of years because I didn't think
that's
about
the scariest thing that there ever is. Like, you'll feel fine. Until you don't.
Yeah. Until all of a sudden you're Jimmy No Bones.
Yeah, until you turn to Hastur on the beach, like roiling your way up. Spider-Man City Raid has begun. I don't like that.
No.
But I'm going to steal it for something. I don't know what. Yep. Some kind of Shadowrun chemical that like bypasses your skin and just dissolves your bones. This begins immediately when the last episode ended, where Walt and Skylar had just finished having rough sex. I was really scared looking at the wiki because like rough sex has a link.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh no! But it was just linking back to the previous episode.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I don't trust anybody on Wiki to talk about that.
Yeah, fandom, you can't have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Walt coughs. They don't talk. He gets up and goes to the bathroom, and then we get a flashback card. They don't do this anymore. These only happen in the first 2 episodes. We'll get flashbacks, but this one literally just says 12 hours earlier.
Right. As Walt and Jesse are cleaning up the cook site, and they're having the RV towed, and I love this
because this is very funny.
They should absolutely be dead to rights, but Walt just starts over explaining their story. Just the guy who's towing, the guy from the reservation, isn't talking to them. He's not responding to anything, just standing there as Walt just gets more and more jittery, saying, "And I was reading the map, and that's a bonehead move." And
well, they both do. Walt and Jesse are both real nervous about it. Over explaining this thing, and Walt's not wearing pants. Like, it looks just like they were doing road sex stuff. They end up giving this money, this like filthy soaking money, who he's the guy from the reservation smells. He probably knows, he's like, this isn't right. They can't dump the body because people have seen them here. If they dump the body, this guy has seen them. So they start getting into arguments. This is beginning their like starting the RV argument about flooding an engine.
Yep.
Just always flood it, don't flood it.
This piece of shit. Yeah. And they also get into an argument about, okay, so where do we take the RV? Walt says, "Oh, we're going to park this at your house overnight. And then after this, we're going to go our separate ways after this is all cleaned up." Right. They have all the intention in the world. And Jesse agrees.
Like breaking up.
Nothing more.
Yeah. This was dumb. We killed people and almost got killed.
Right.
They get the RV started and they pull away, and the camera, they don't see this, but the camera sees they left one of the gas masks at the scene.
Yes.
That's going to be no good. And as they're pulling away, they hear a noise coming from one of the tarps. Crazy 8 is alive. Yes. And again, like, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
If you did done a crime, it's like, well, shit, like, I had vaguely come to peace with this. Now I have to come to peace with this. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah. It's like, I already felt terrible because, like, it was in self-defense that I did this phosphine thing, but it was in a situation I shouldn't have been in. Killing somebody with gas like that, it's indirect, but now we have a decision to make with a severely weakened person. We have to do this instead of like a lean back murder method. We have to do a lean in murder method.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit later when he starts deliberating about that self-defense thing, because I was thinking about that a lot during this. I was trying not to cinema sins it, but something that happens when I watch stuff for the show is I think about it in different ways. And one of the things I was thinking was like, it's a little bit weird that at no point does Walt say like, "You were going to kill me." Like, you came and pulled a gun on me. Like, you had a gun to my head. Like, I don't know. I feel like you could not leverage reasonableness out of Crazy 8 from that, but it would counter the guilt tripping that Crazy 8 does.
Yes.
The other thing I was thinking about is, this is way later when they get to the coin flip, they're still going to have to dissolve Crazy 8. Who does that remainder? Like, it's not an either or situation. It's a both. Porque no las dos.
Yeah.
Like, dark.
It's
El Diablos.
It's a coin flip, but both of them. Oh, we'll talk about it when it gets there. Yeah.
It's just a weird thing that doesn't get addressed.
Yeah. So cut back to Walt has been passed out. He fell asleep on the bathroom floor. He is naked in a fetal position. One would say reborn the next morning. But he's coughing, and Skyler's like, "Hey, Walt, you gonna come join us?" Like, it's not usual for him to be down there.
She's very suspicious at this point. One thing I really like about Skyler, she's wrong about a lot of things, but she's not an idiot. She knows he's acting weird. He's kind of glowing at this thing, but he also wants to fill the silence. So he starts telling a story about the senior photos, like girls in the school are able to do it with any photographer. And they're going through the photos and all the girls have cleavage.
Even the small brassiere girls.
Even the small breasted girl. And I love Flynn just like, the Wonder Bra. It's called the Wonder Bra.
His mom's like, oh, yeah.
Like, this is really good acting. Like, this is very funny. A phone is ringing. They're ignoring it. And then Jesse leaves a message as a fake telemarketer.
Yes.
Which Walt picks up and kind of code speaks to him at first, about this. Like, I'm having dinner with my family. I told you're not supposed to call me now. And then eventually kind of like shout whispers.
Yeah. Don't call here. Just calm down. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Real
and this is
smooth.
where Jesse's like, what the fuck do we do?
Uh-huh.
Like, you said Crazy 8 was practically dead. He'd die on the way trip. He's not. I can hear him rolling around in there.
Yeah.
Scrounging around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big difference between dead and practically dead,
Yes.
And Skylar says bye as Walt and Walt Jr. get ready to leave and go. When they're gone, she star 69's the call, to dial back the most recent call. Good.
Great little character interaction here where like Walt leans in for a kiss and she really reluctantly lets him. And stuff like that's very relationship. Like, he should know he's in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not good signaling.
Yeah. But she calls and then she gets Jesse's awful answering message.
Yo. Yeah. The ABQ. Back when this was a thing, when people would do that, just as opposed to saying their name. Walt gives his lecture. We're in the first season. We're going to get a lot of lectures that are about themes of the show, which a pet peeve for Gary. This one is about chirality. It comes from the word for hand. Your left and right hands are mirrors of each other. Although they look the same, they don't always behave the same. When he pauses, he's thinking about it. And he gives the example of thalidomide, which like the good version of that is a fine drug, and the bad version, creates deformities and such.
Actually, one of the few big wins the FDA ever gave us was not distributing it over here, saying no, you can't do that in America. Yeah.
One of the worst moments in the show happens here, I think. I hate this. The show is above this.
Yes.
A kid raises his hand and Walt is obviously haunted and they want to show this. So the kid asks, like, is this going to be on the midterm? But they make him go, is this going to be on the murder?
Yeah.
And
what's a battle?
This is the idea of like a Freudian slip where you're like hearing things like that. Like, I'm just thinking about murder all the time. So when somebody said something, it's so hacky. This is like one of the hackiest things that's ever. There's two like super hacky moments in season 1. It's this, and then the like nothing bad will ever happen in this house. That might be in season 2, but there are just only a couple things that are like among the hackiest things in TV shows that show up in Breaking Bad, and it's really great that it's so rare.
Yes, but it sticks out like a sore thumb when it is.
Yeah,
when it shows up. Yeah,
it's gonna be on the murder, dude. I asked you a question. And we all make mistakes, but like, is this going to be on the murder?
Sorry, I'm not quick enough today to play along with you on that, but that is funny. Oh gosh. So class is dismissed, bell rings, and Walt goes into the supply cage and grabs some hydrofluoric acid. A high school lab wouldn't have big jugs of this stuff.
Yeah, they need like a lifetime supply for this. Jesse is put on makeup. He's putting on some of his aunt's concealer. We're going to find out later this was his aunt's house. And he hears a noise outside. He goes out and the door to the RV is open. And just like, oh shit. We cut over to Crazy 8 stumbling like a zombie down the road. Like, he's absolutely fucked.
The breathing sound that they got that actor to do, the very halting. I mean, it's a waking apnea kind of thing that he's doing, where it's just nothing, and then that kind of just like very quick aspiration. Very upsetting, and just him stumbling blind, unable to see, until Walt pulls up next to him and says, hey, and then he recognizes Walt. What a coincidence! I love that Walt just happened. Like, what a thing for Walt to turn around and see. Again, he rolled a 7 to 9 in Dungeon World. He gets success, but the DM reveals unwelcome information. Crazy 8. This actually ends up helping him. Crazy 8 runs away, being afraid of him, and then runs face first into a tree. Yeah.
And knocks himself out.
And the music on the radio says, "Baby, you knocked me out."
Not
much.
Soundtrack in season 1. So Skylar uses Jesse's telephone number on an internet listing site called something like Phone Spider, which is great, and finds Jesse's website, Captain Cook's Crystal Ship.
I love the crystal ship. One of my favorite things later is when is when Jesse refers to the RV as the crystal ship. This is like years down the line, at least in terms of air date. And Walt's like, "What? Like, oh, that's the name of the RV. It's the crystal ship."
We never talked about it. You know, I didn't think you'd be into it, but yeah, and also anything that reminds you of crystal ships.
Oh yes,
first season Tim and Eric thing. That's very funny. Glenn Tennis. Yeah, very good.
But yeah, I love Jesse's MySpace page here because this is what a lot of them looked like. She stops on his general interests. I just want to read some of these because I really like Jesse's like hobby life that he at least puts across. General interests. Fine herbage, keeping it real, Jui Ryo Kung Fu blue belt certification, banging the skins in my smoking band, and it's cut off, but we know that his band is called Twat Hammer.
I also don't think he plays drums in it. I think that changed.
He does the vocals when he tries to stay over at his buddy's house. His buddy plays bass, but he has the drum set in the house with him in this episode.
Maybe he would have been one of the very rare behind the kit singers.
Oh yeah, doing like
I really admire that.
It's also really goofy.
It's super goofy, but it's hard. Like it's just two very different parts of your brain. Like our drummer does backup vocals behind there, but whenever a band that we were like in Portland, Night Mechanic, a bunch of their songs are written or sung by the drummer the whole time, and it's really impressive. It is kind of goofy, but it's also cool looking.
It is impressive. I always associate the singing drummer with the Eagles is the thing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but yes, banging the skins and Twat Hammer, European motocross. Gary, he intends to plan to attend wheelie school. Wheelie school.
Tracks Mania. Yeah. I love it. And then ends with MILFs. That is a really great little character thing with Jesse that's never it's hinted at enough to be real, but he prefers older women, and if not older women, mothers.
Right.
With the exception of Jane.
Yes.
But
I mean, that was his establishing moment there in the show was, him running away from that older lady. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And Skylar's like, what the hell's a MILF?
Love it.
Which is very 2008 thing.
Huge review energy where he's like somebody who's capable of craving a MILF. His ex-wife starts dating the guy who he catfished for her. The thought of Suzanne was somebody who was capable of craving a MILF was.
I was in town. I was craving a MILF, and
God, what a good show!
Review is so
calling it here. The review after Best Quality Vacuum. It's only 3 seasons, and one of the seasons is 3 episodes.
Right,
done. In a couple of years, we'll see you
later. Oh my God! But she sees under his education, he attended. Jesse attended J.P. Wynn High School, the school where Walt teaches. Yeah. Also gave a try at correspondence school. He was at DeVry Data Systems.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
So Walt and Jesse look down at this gasping crazy 8 who's on the basement floor, and so he literally says, "Now what?" They go upstairs, and Walt is begging Jesse for some information, like, who is he? Start with his name. What is he? And he's like, he's the next guy. Like, at Starbucks, he's the guy who sells Starbucks beans.
Yes, he's a distributor. Okay, yeah.
He's what is his reputation for violence? Well, he did try to kill us yesterday, so there's that. It's very good.
And starting there's that rejoinder that we're going to end on. Yeah. And Walt figures, hey, since he's a businessman, he might be capable of acting out of mutual self-interest. And Jesse thinks that is.
Do you mean like not send his cartel buddies to give our families Colombian neckties? I don't think so, buddy. Like, they hear him moving around, and I love this. They're scared. Like, I would be scared. Like, this guy is a pussycat. He's absolutely harmless. He's dying. He's not dying, but he's barely not dying, and they're terrified. Like, this is the scariest thing. And
Jesse displays some like actually pretty appropriate, let's say, like caginess about this. He says, if I was him, I would like pretend to be knocked out, and then while while we were away, I'd be looking for a weapon. Like, we have to be careful. We can't just go down there.
Yeah. Yep. Well, this after they go down there and see him that he's just laying on his back. They'd heard him snoring and rolling around. So he goes out to the garage and gets his bike lock from his motorcycle to lock Crazy 8's head to this foundation post. And then they're arguing about what they should do, like whose fault this is. You know, Jesse keeps saying, like, what do we do? So you keep telling me this, like, ask me that, like I'm going to have an answer.
Yeah.
You know,
I just love how they get to, it's always at like, who's to blame for this? Like, well, Jesse, you dragged us out there. You know, Jesse could have rightfully said, well, you dragged me out there.
Well, he does say that. He's like, I didn't say, like, I want to go find the dorkiest guy I've ever met and cook meth with him. Like, this is on you. You know, Walt says, listen, you know, he's down there, but our immediate concern is Emilio. It's getting warmer. He's going to start smelling bad. Our best course of action is chemical discorporation.
Which I love. Just he's trying to hide behind that euphemism, but Jesse, you know, makes him spell it out, makes him actually say what it's going to be. We have to dissolve him in a strong acid.
Yeah. Jesse, you know, doesn't want to do it. He's not good with dead bodies. Neither of them want to do it, any of it.
Right.
You know,
right.
It's not like Jesse wants to do the other part at all. But Walt's like, we're in this 50-50. I suppose in situations like this, it's not inappropriate to flip a coin.
Which is so ridiculous to flip a coin over something like this.
I really like it. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like if I were in that situation, I would be beyond the moral event horizon of like, I don't want to do those things basically equally. You know, I mean, not quite equally, but I don't want to do those things that they may as well be equal.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess I'm saying that from like
one finger cut off or two. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I guess I'm just, you know, taking it from like, oh, you flip a coin, like if you disagree about which place you're going to stop for a bite to eat, you know, not like which one of us is going to kill a guy and which one of us is going to dissolve the guy in acid and which is the other guy who's going to kill somebody and then dissolve him in acid.
Well, they're taking things from real life and applying them to crime life.
I know.
You know, like that is what they would do to decide where to eat. You know,
I'm not saying that like it is a dumb thing for them to do. It is just a funny thing.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just pointing out that it's a neat thing that they're taking these really mundane things and having to apply them to this heightened, horrible situation.
Yeah, that's what's good about this.
Yeah, very good. Jesse wins the coin flip, and then Walt says best 2 or 3. He did have one he wanted to do.
Yep. Yeah. And so, you know, Walt is at Jesse's. He's drinking a beer, trying to work up his nut to figure out what to do. And Jesse calls him. Jesse's gone to a hardware store to get a container. Walt is very specific. They need a container that is made out of polyethylene. There'll be a triangle with the letters LDPE stamped there. You know, be sure that you get one of these.
Yes. And Jesse's like, this seems pretty flimsy. You know, any decent acid will eat right through it. Thinking of acids in terms of like levels. And Walt can't handle this. This is a really pivotal character moment. He says, you know, as far as I'm concerned, your chemistry education is over. You've jerked off, slept, fucked around during all of my lectures. Yeah. This is Walt creating a huge problem for himself by condescending and discounting Jesse as a person. Like one of Walt's big character flaws. And I think this is something that people are very capable of, and everyone does to a certain level. But he characterizes people as matters and don't matters. Pretty quick. And this is one of those moments. Like all it would take is a little patience. This is obviously of critical importance, but Jesse is not worth your concern. He's below contempt. He's too big of an idiot, and he will obey you because you have the power in the situation. Like, you know, you are the authority.
Yeah. Here. And by writing him off, you also wrote yourself off into the result of the actions that he would take on his own.
Yes. Yeah. Your crapulence and your, you know, has made your situation worse just through you being malicious to other people, like being uncaring and callous. Yeah. You know,
and you know, you could treat this person with a little bit of respect and say, "Oh, okay, no, I know what you're thinking." Or even just like give the reason why you need the very specific thing. Like Walt just gave him the direction as opposed to explaining why. You know,
because he thinks he wouldn't understand it, or he doesn't need to know, and like he's a tool for Walt. Like I don't know very much about chemistry. I don't know jack dick about chemistry. I know enough to know that like it matters what I know. There's chemistry involved, so I know that acid could not go through certain things. I get that part. But it's not like that's not my area of expertise, man. And I'm not the kind of archetype they're trying to make with Jesse. Like at this point, this is before Jesse kind of shows, more of his depth. He is supposed to be kind of a burner idiot. Yo, 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 in the ABQ, milfs, 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 milfs. Like this episode is very at his expense. But I'm saying that even, random person on the street who's entirely respectable to Walt also maybe wouldn't know the chemistry of this shit. No, it's a specialized field, you dipshit.
Yeah.
Most people don't know anything about this.
In fact, it's so specialized, you think that you're so much better than other people because you did it good once.
Yeah, you did it once, then became a teacher at it. Like, how often do I fuck around with hydrochloric acid?
Yeah.
I mean, just like, it's real huge oversight on Walt's part.
Oh, yeah.
Here, and just very indicative about how he sees people around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jesse just hangs up. Yeah, okay, be a dick about it.
Well, he doesn't hang up. Like, this is really good because it's contrasting them. He says, did you take care of that thing yet? And Walt's like, I haven't done it yet. And Jesse, contrasting to Walt, who's like being a dick and condescending, is trying to help. Like, Jesse in his heart is sympathetic. Like, he's not a good person, but he can't just be cruel to someone's face.
Yes.
So he's like, hey, whatever you're doing, you might be doing him a favor. Like, he's trying to urge him up to it. The contrast between how they're treating each other is nuts.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was trying to help reframe Walt's mind about it. He's not even he doesn't even come down on him for not having done it yet. That's only later when it becomes like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna leave him overnight, and I have to feed him now.
Yeah, like we just you have a fucking digipet now, Jesse. I got you a Bakugan. It's in the basement, chained to a pole. But like, it's just he's self-interested because he wants him gone, but he's also just treating Walt like a person.
Yeah,
it's a really specific type of shithead who can like just be mean to somebody's face like that.
Yeah.
There are people I don't like tons of people I don't like, and I can be mean in my heart. I can think unkind things about people. I do it. But if I'm talking to somebody, even if they're like a shithead, would be very hard for me to like I like to say I wouldn't piss on Alex Jones if he was on fire. If I saw him on fire, I would help him because I would have to. Mm-hmm. I'd give him some water. I would have to. Like, how do you not do that? He's a monster and he's responsible for incalculable harm. How do I not give somebody a glass of water who needs it or whatever?
Right. Well, you don't want him to die so quick.
Well, that's true. That's the other thing is he's got to pay.
Yeah. He does.
He's literally got to pay. He can't have that happen first. He can't die of murder. But you know what I mean, right? Like,
right.
The worst person you can think of if they were like in the desert, dying of thirst, you would give them water because how do you not give somebody water who needs it?
How could you live with yourself with that?
Look at them in the face,
Right. Yeah. Well, and like even aside from just kind of like pure altruism or just the conscious that a person has or their social awareness, like Jesse's taking the better tack here, which is we're both in the same situation. You being able to do this helps me because it's the sooner we can move on, right?
Yeah, it's what they agreed on.
Yeah.
His word is his bond, foreshadowing to that, and you will see that it plays out. He does it wrong, but he tries. Mm-hmm. He doesn't pussyfoot around. He doesn't complicate. He just does what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
So Walt hangs up. Jesse tries the container that Walt gave him, tries sitting in it, but he doesn't fit.
I love him sitting on the ground and then just like looking around the corner just to see.
Yeah. Everyone's noticing him, checking to see if a body could fit in there.
So Walt does his own version of the Bruce Willis picking out his weapons scene in Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he's going through. He opens up the drawer, and he grabs the kitchen knife. No, he doesn't want to do that. Opens up the drawer. There's a hammer. There are the two guns. They're Crazy 8 and Emilio's guns. But he eventually decides, okay, I'll use the plastic bag that the guns were in, figuring that the other ones are going to be
asphyxiating in life. Let's give him a proper send off.
That's what I know about him.
Be totally consistent. I don't know a lot about Crazy 8, but I know he loves gasping.
Got him a bunch of crushed up match heads for Christmas.
So here's and this is, I'm saying this in a spirit of fun, so don't start following this rabbit hole.
Okay.
You're in this situation. What would you do?
Well, I think that what Walt ultimately picks is the what he picks is good and might be one of the most
You mean the
tempting
bag
for
or the
me.
choke?
The bag.
Okay.
Which is like, you don't necessarily have to be like crazy hands on with that. Like if you can use tape, right? You
Yeah.
can just tape that over his head and there he goes. Like if I'm at this point where I'm thinking about the crazy eight problem as a problem to solve,
Mhm.
suffocation feels like it is the better way because it's not messy. Like you can hit
Yes.
somebody in the head, like, oh my, well, like what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Inflicting blunt force trauma. Like you have to do that again and again and again, and
Yeah.
you're gonna know that. But like with the bag, you can put it over there and he's
And go
done. And
upstairs.
yeah, there's no
Yeah.
blood to deal with, or very little blood. There might be effluvium or something like that, but yeah, I think the bag is ultimately the way to go.
The bag's really good.
Yes.
I was thinking that or poison.
Yeah.
Once he decided to feed him,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of poison. And like, I don't personally know what's something that somebody would eat that's poisonous, but Walt would.
Yeah, you could give him some strychnine, rat poison,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, do a hitman,
Mm-hmm.
put that in his coffee or whatever.
I said that very dispassionately. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know. I told you, I'm thinking spirit of fun. Yep. I don't want to think too much about like actually doing it. I'm just thinking of it as a problem to solve.
Yeah.
He goes downstairs, but Crazy 8 is awake and looks at him. Who is that? Walt tries to run, but then Crazy 8 calls up to him. He locks the door behind him, which I love. And then begs for water.
Yeah.
He's thirsty. Walt goes to the kitchen and gets some water. But then when he opens the fridge to get it, he notices the fixing for a bologna sandwich. And you can see on his face, he's, the part of him that's like, yeah, I can't not give somebody who's dying of thirst water. This guy's probably hungry. Like, I'm a father.
Well, yeah, and making a bologna sandwich for your kid is like a thing you do. Like that's just kind of like cooked into you at a certain point. So he's going to make him a sandwich, right? Because like it's not. I shouldn't have him suffer starving just because I can't make up my mind, right? Which is ultimately crueler. But
yeah, we do that for people when the state murders them.
Yeah,
we feed them and we try to make it not painful.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. Try. It's not great. I'm against capital punishment.
Yes.
But it's this is very human, I think.
Yeah. I love this shot, the order that things are sent over. So it's just crazy. They're chained, locked to the post, and then in comes a jug of water. In comes another jug of water. Just slid out of frame to Crazy 8. Then the plate with the sandwich on it. Then beat 2 beats. There's a bucket, and then beat a roll of toilet paper, and then another beat hand sanitizer.
Yeah, it's very cute. It's very funny. Crazy 8 peels his crust off. Is going to come up later, and asks where Emilio is. Walt doesn't answer, and that's his answer. This is where if I were Walt, I'd be like, you remember you had guns to our heads. You were going to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
Walt goes upstairs, and he's still struggling with this. He notices all this weed on Jesse's counter and decides to roll himself a joint, and we get a joint montage of him rolling bad joints. Yeah, just like embarrassing reggae music. Walt gets home and sees his teacher smoking weed. He's real into it until he realizes it's his weed.
Yeah, like we don't. Oh, like oh, Mr. White. Wait, is that mine? Make yourself at home. Oh gosh. But Jesse didn't get the container because none of them were big enough. And Walt's like, oh, well, did you think about doing 2 containers? One for the legs and the other.
Yeah. I mean, that would mean cutting him in half, which is extra stuff that would be difficult, but Walt was expecting that,
Yes.
Jesse deflects this. He doesn't answer. I don't suppose you can kiss my ass. Jesse says, hey, how'd it go? And then he hears Crazy 8 coughing. And Walt's like, no, I'll do it. I promise I'll do it. But I have to go right now. I have a doctor's appointment. I can't miss it.
We flipped a coin.
Yeah, I love that. Like, again, his word is his bond. Like, we did this. This is a pregnancy appointment. He's going to check out Skylar's ultrasound. They find out the gender. They're having a girl, and Walt's like, that's what I was hoping for. We'll meet Holly later.
Yeah. And Skyler says, "Oh, let me remind you, you said that," when she's 16 and starts dating. And, Walt doesn't respond to that. He just looks heartbroken.
Yeah, he knows he's not going to.
Right.
The doctor leaves, and this is where Skyler's no idiot. It's like, who is Jesse Pinkman? And I star 69, like, don't try to deny it.
Yeah. What's this big secret you seem to be discussing with some druggy burnout?
Yeah. Again, what's the worst thing you can do is shut me out.
Yes. Yeah. And, Walt comes up with a pretty good lie, actually.
It's a great lie. This is some of his best lying.
Uh-huh. Boss says, Jesse sells me pot. I like it.
I kind of like it, yeah. She, big square. Like, this is, earlier on before, mass decriminalization of pot was in motion, so this made more sense. Your brother-in-law is a DEA agent. Are you out of your mind? You're not a teenager.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
And this is where Walt takes a real left turn. This sucks.
I go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I think I'm glad you brought this up, because I had interesting feelings about this scene. I think some of it's the performance is coming before. Let's see if I can put these words in the right order. Like, Walt isn't developed enough as a character for Bryan Cranston to sell this in the way that I think Walt would.
Yeah.
Like, we're not there yet. Right.
It's just really cold the way that he says it, in the way that this is like the first outright. It comes across as really hostile, especially in a situation where he would want to be placating her. Right.
Yeah.
It's
not just hostile, but he plays it as kind of like, it's kind of not played for comedy, but it's a little bit like the dialogue beats and everything are a little like Dennis Miller-y. It's like a little bit like he's doing kind of a performance.
A little bit, yeah.
It's a little too like one man. It's to the rafters a little bit.
Yeah,
it's elevated, and Walt does that when he's saying something that he doesn't believe. Yes. He doesn't do it when he's saying something he actually does want, but is also a tactical choice.
Yeah, but he says, I haven't been myself lately. I love you very much. So right now, what I need is for you to climb down out of my ass. Can you do that? Will you do that for me, honey? Will you please, just once, get off my ass? I appreciate it. I really would.
He says it just like that. And if you we're not married, if you ever talk to me like that, I would just dissolve the network.
Oh yeah.
Like if anyone ever talked to me like that, that'd be it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's similar to how Crashmore talks about how he wants to be interviewed as an actor.
That's kind of what it is.
That would be great. That would be good. This is why nobody watches AOL Blast. But like if some there's a theatricality to there. I've met people who talk like that regularly. They're like, oh sure, like do this kind of like very musical pauses in their language and stuff, and it's like the most condescending tone that anyone can do.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
Yeah. No, absolutely no good. It's too hostile. It doesn't fit.
Yeah. That is a tone that if deployed in real life, you deploy it like a grenade. You throw it into the room and you run.
It's like snapping at somebody. Like if you hold your hands out and snap at somebody, or like somebody's just having fun talking and you go, shh. Like that's fucking makes me see red. Just imagining somebody doing that to me. That's how I'm going to start getting out of bed every morning. Like I usually use Twitter to get angry enough to get out of bed, but I switch over to this. It doesn't fit. And he's doing a little monologue like in the middle of this. Like I think the intention is he's being pulled in a million different fucking directions at once, right? Like Walt as a fraying knot makes a lot of sense. He was just reminded that he's having a baby girl and he's going to die, and he has some murdering he has to go do and dissolving and stuff. He is under a lot of stress, but it doesn't read as a stress response. It reads too actorly and
it's stress. And also I just like with the Jesse thing, I need people to be more cognizant of what team they're on. If you're asking for sympathy and if you're asking for forbearance, you cannot be this impatient with somebody. You really can't.
Yeah. It's even, and this whole thing is just like a thing where like, I don't, I would have clued in,
Yeah.
Tor I Walter White, in addition to doing all the crimes better, I would have also clued in my wife basically right away.
Yeah.
And
That's
like,
the thing.
it would have been that Mr. Show sketch, like, I'm in this now, you're in this too now, honey. Like, just, married into this shit.
Oh my God. So, but that's a pretty harsh way to end the scene there. It's the next day, and the kids are taking an exam. Walter is in a bad place. He just is sitting at his front desk and writing down stuff on a pad, and then he just mutters to himself, "Stop."
Yep.
Yeah.
The kids notice this. He's not being himself.
Yeah.
Jesse's at home smoking meth and watching the Three Stooges, who are having a white powder adventure because anything that happens in a TV has to reflect on what's going on. So IMDb trivia guys can have a good time. He's talking himself up into it. It's meat. Like, it's just meat. But he had waited a little while too. And when he goes into the RV, it stinks.
Yes.
Like, it's nasty. Or flies, that fly.wave.
So he's dragging Emilio out of there. He's wrapped up in a tarp, and it's a good thing he didn't get him any further, because up comes Skylar knocking on the gate. Yeah, it's like, "Hey, private property, yo." And she says, "Well, my name is Skylar White, yo."
Husband of Walter White, yo.
Yeah, and he told me everything.
Yeah.
God, I love these two together so fucking much.
It doesn't happen very often, but it's fun to see.
Uh-huh.
It reminded me of, like, I love Aaron Paul getting next to people. Like, we got to see the scene with him and Kim in Better Call Saul, and it's like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It just feels good. So, she basically says, like, "Hey, my brother-in-law is a DEA agent. I'll call him. You have one warning: stop selling marijuana to my husband." I love Jesse coming to terms with, like, what she knows. Okay. Like, great performance.
Oh, God, it's so funny. Just like Walt can't not be a dad when he makes Crazy 8 a bologna sandwich. Skylar like kind of can't not be the mom of a teenage son.
And Jesse kind of can't not be a teenage son. Like, he's just like, like, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or or you'll be one sorry individual. You dig me? Yeah. And when she goes to leave, she says, "And I'd consider going into another line of work."
It's very funny.
Very disapproving mom thing.
It's real good. Like, this is real cute.
Yeah.
Great performances. So Jesse goes inside, takes some more meth, and drags Emilio up the stairs to the bathroom. He drops him once. Like, this is very difficult. A body weighs a lot. And if they're not moving, if it's dead weight, it's like way heavier feeling.
That's why they call it dead weight.
Yeah, if it's inert. And then he's going to use his bathtub. Like, we didn't know his plan yet. He didn't talk about it, but we know he thought the bin wouldn't fit. Yeah. He puts Emilio in the tub, put the guns in, and starts pouring in the acid while doing this monologue about how unfair this shit is. Like, why are we doing this at my house? You're going to ruin my house, so I can't think about it any other way. Oh, and here's your basement Pokemon. That you have to, oh yeah, I'm not going to do my part. Also, you have to feed him 3 times a day. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just a raw deal.
Yeah, just pure resentment. This is it's stuff that he kind of isn't capable of saying to Walt just yet.
Yeah, but he's not wrong about any of it.
Oh no, absolutely not. Yeah. Walt gets in, and Jesse, greets him by saying, "Hey, is it true that your brother is in the DEA? Oh yeah, your wife came over."
Yeah, you sent your crazy wife. Why'd you tell her that I was selling you weed? And he says, because it somehow seemed preferable to telling her I cooked crystal meth and killed a man. Good rejoinder.
Fair point.
Yeah. He smells the meth. At first I always thought this was him smelling the acid. Like, for a second, and I realized that he's smelling meth. Yeah. He doesn't like that Jesse is smoking their product.
Yeah. I've never smelled meth. I've smelled crack. It smells like burning styrofoam. So
it's not great. I have smelled meth. It's not a great smell.
Yeah.
None of the scary drugs are good to me.
Right.
Just like all my senses are saying stay away from that.
Yeah. It kind of seems like poison. I kind of don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yep. Again, that hypocrisy, right? So, like, he's going to smoke pot in the house. Jesse's going to smoke something else, and that's to be condemned because Walt doesn't see him as a person. Later, he's going to talk to Hank and be like, it's weird that we can just buy alcohol, but meth is not like, the pot and meth are not like this. Like, he is the arbiter.
Yes, he gets, he gets to decide, and because he's a good knowledge boy. Like, oh, they used to sell Dexedrine on the streets, or no, it's Hank who responds back saying they used to sell it. Yeah. And then he's just like, yeah, well, they, what's the difference? Walt is the wise old libertarian in this place. He decides everything. Walt tries to big time. I'm like, oh, I've got the truly awful job here. I'm gonna just and Jesse says, well, you try dragging 200 pounds of stink up some stairs and loading them into a bathtub. And Walt's immediately, what did you say?
Yeah. They both walk upstairs and they see the ceiling sizzling, like it's leaking through with a sizzling liquid.
It's alien.
It's movie acid.
Yep.
It's not real acid, but that's happening. And then the bottom falls out quite literally, like a big pile of acid and meat and strawberry jam fall through.
Yeah, the undissolved solids. And
amazingly striking image, really foul.
Oh god.
And when we get to the next episode, when they open it, like, they're really going to rub our face in it. Like, none of these crimes are consequence free. It's gross and nasty, and it's putrid.
It's like you tried to clean up a mess and it made a bigger mess, and trying to clean up that mess made a bigger mess. And we're gonna watch them just scoop them up and then flush them down the toilet. Just like it a really just undignified and almost profane way to go. I don't know. There's just good.
They have that thing. They have that you can be liquefied and put down a drain.
They do, yeah. But I mean, I want that to happen is the thing.
But not the toilet. You want to go down a classy drain.
I want to go down a kitchen sink, I want to go down where bacon grease isn't supposed to go.
That's a good one. I think that if I think about my top drains, I might do like a basement wash sink.
Yeah.
Clean. It probably smells good in there. It probably smells like detergent.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
In there. No.
Yeah. Anyway, but that lye hydrolysis or whatever is fucking fascinating. I like it.
Yeah, it's great. All the things you can do with a corpse other than bury him are cool.
Yes.
So he then big times Jesse, and he's doing the like explaining dramatic voice he was doing on Skylar, except it's more justified.
Right. He's also kind of in teacher mode too.
Yeah. These hydrofluoric acid won't eat through the plastic, but will eat through bone, ceramic, wood, concrete. So there's that. Just boom, mic drop.
It's like, all right, well, this you get a little bit of room for that because we're both staring right at it.
Fair enough.
Fair, you did, fair play.
Yeah. And then at the end, we cut over to some indigenous kids who find the abandoned gas mask out of the meth site.
Just running around playing with it. Oh, what an amazing find if you found a gas mask.
Oh yeah. That would be really cool. Your cosplay would be taken care of.
I am in the, what is it, the umbrella, the UBCS.
Yeah, I'm Psycho Manti.
I'm Hunk.
I'm Hunk. I'm Tofu. You can do the whole thing. And that's how the episode ends. Great episode. Very of a piece with the next one. So it's kind of hard to talk about alone. These first 3 episodes kind of form an arc together that like makes a lot better sense together than individually, I think.
I can't wait to talk about the scenes with Walt and Crazy 8.
Yeah, that's really great stuff. Like, that's incredible. I think that's about it.
Think so.
We appreciate you for listening. If you like the show, please go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us some money. Get some bonus shows. Support your voice.
We have, if you like this, we have a bonus show called Unfilmable. Once a month, we talk in depth about a horror movie. This month we did Jacob's Ladder. Last month we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All of those are there. There are like 44 of them now.
Yeah, and next month we're doing the Chernobyl miniseries. So if you're a fan of prestige, elevated TV, golden age of TV shit, that might be one of the best, I think. And ratings and reviews, Apple Podcast, Podcast Addict. I can't remember if I said that already. Just know that we appreciate you.
Yeah. And until next time, we just wanted to know if you have a replacement filter for the Hoover Express Max
Extract Pressure Pro.
Extract Pressure Pro. There we go.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, we'll get there eventually. At this point, I'm not putting in the notes because I want to challenge us.
Oh, I like that. It's a fun little game.